Sword and Shield is one of the most versatile and beginner-friendly weapons. It's fast, mobile, and still gives you solid defensive options. The combos feel fluid, and once you get a feel for it, you'll realize there's almost always another move you can flow into. But for all that freedom, there's also a surprising amount of depth. In this video, we're breaking down the most useful tips, mechanics, and combos to help you master S and S. We'll start with the easy ones and build up from there. Normally, when you're using consumables like potions, you need to sheath your weapon first before you can use them. That takes time and slows down your movement while you're drinking or applying something. But with S&S, you don't need to do that. You can stay mobile, keep your weapon drawn, and use items on the fly without breaking out of combat flow. If you're using the radial menu, which is what I recommend, you don't need to do anything special. Just open the radial with your weapon out, pick your consumable item, and you'll use it without ever losing your mobility. If you're using the item bar instead, you'll just need to hold down the R key as you use the item. This keeps your weapon drawn and ensures you don't automatically sheath when you press E to consume something. It's one of those subtle sword and shield features that makes a huge difference in practice, especially when you're playing aggressively. If you need to close the distance fast, S&S gives you two strong options: Advancing Slash and Sliding Swipe. On PC, you perform Advancing Slash by pressing left click plus right click simultaneously. It's a quick, forward-moving attack that flows smoothly into just about anything: combos, blocks, dodge rolls, whatever the situation calls for. If your weapon is sheathed, you can also perform it by simply pressing forward and then left click. This draws your weapon and immediately goes into the Advancing Slash, letting you close the gap while getting straight into the fight. It's fast, reliable, and a great way to kick off your offense. Sliding Swipe, on the other hand, is performed by pressing R plus left click. It travels farther than Advancing Slash and has invincibility frames at the start, making it great for dodging into range or quickly closing distance. The trade-off is that its animation is longer, so it's not the best option when you're working with tight openings. In those cases, the quicker moves of Advancing Slash let you execute more moves and increase your DPS. S&S has two basic combo chains, which you can perform by either clicking left or right click. Pressing left click up to 4 times gives you a fast, flexible combo. These standard slashes are quick to execute and allow you to block, roll, or another move without much delay. On the other hand, right click gives you a heavier combo up to 3 hits. Each swing in this chain hits harder than the left click version, making it a better pick when you've got a clear, uninterrupted opening. That said, the right click combo has a little longer animations, which means you'll have less room to dodge or block a sudden attack. Both chains can be extended with a combo finisher, which we'll go over shortly, but first let's cover one more combo chain. It's still pretty basic, but I think it's worth giving a little more explanation. Alongside your normal attack chains, Sword and Shield also has a Shield Bash combo, and it's a simple way to start building up KO status. To perform it, hold the forward or left or right directional button and press right click. This initiates a forward Shield Bash, and from there, you can follow up with right click up to 2 more times for a total of 3 hits in the combo. All of these attacks deal blunt damage, so they're most effective when aimed at the monster's head. And if you land enough of them, you'll trigger a stun, usually once or twice per hunt if you're consistent. And just like the other 2 chains, this one can also be extended into a combo finisher, which we'll talk about next. After finishing a basic combo, whether it's 4 left clicks, 3 right clicks, or the full Shield Bash chain, you can follow it up by using the Spinning Reaper. On PC, just tap left click plus right click right after your last hit. It's a wide, sweeping finisher that adds a chunk of damage and closes out your combo. However, it does come with some end lag, so if you're not careful, it can leave you a little exposed. You can cut the delay a bit by performing a dodge roll or by following up with the Rising Slash move. It works like a combo reset, letting you keep the momentum and keep the pressure going. Alternatively, you can also follow it up with another finisher, which leads us to the next tip. Charge Chop is one of Sword and Shield's most rewarding attacks when used right. It's performed by holding left click and right click, and unlike your usual taps for quick finishers, this one charges up to deal multiple hits. You can throw it out mid-combo, but doing so will only execute the weaker version of the move. It's best used as a finisher, after a full basic combo, or following a Spinning Reaper. A solid example would be performing 4 left clicks, then tapping left and right click to perform Spinning Reaper, and finally holding left and right click to chain into a Charge Chop. That's when you'll get the empowered version, which deals significantly more damage. Take note though that it's a high commitment string, so it's best saved for moments when you know you've got a clean opening. When you land a focus strike, you'll attach to a wounded part of the monster. From there, you get two different follow-up options, falling slash or upswing bash, depending on the input you choose. Press left click and you'll perform falling slash. This unleashes a multi-hit combo directly onto the wound and destroys it in the process. It's fast, clean, and a solid damage option. If you press right click instead, you'll do an upswing bash. This launches you upward with a shield bash that deals blunt damage and contributes to KO buildup. And while you're airborne, you've got 3 different aerial attacks you can chain into. Press right click midair to follow up with a falling bash. This will perform a downward shield slam that also deals blunt damage and keeps building that KO status. If you want raw damage instead, press left click plus right click simultaneously in mid-air to perform a plunging thrust. This attack hits multiple times and has the highest damage potential of all your aerial options. Pressing left click in mid-air gives you the jumping slash. It's quick, deals 1 clean hit, and if your mount meter is built up, it can trigger a mount. All 3 have their uses, but in most cases you'll want to lean on falling bash for KO setups or plunging thrust if you're going for pure damage. One of the more advanced movement tools in S&S is the backstep, and it's a great way to dodge while keeping your offense active. To pull it off, press the back movement key and right click at the same time. You can use it to avoid attacks while staying close, and it also opens up some really useful follow-ups. If you let go of right click or tap left click after the hop, you'll go straight into an advancing slash, which lets you get right back into striking range. But if you press the back key again during the hop, you'll perform a rising slash. It's a fast, diagonal upward strike that doesn't move you much, but works great as a combo reset. From there, you can follow up with other moves or just use the moment to reposition. You can even chain into another backstep, which is a great way to quickly gain distance from your target if needed. It's worth noting that if you're not in focus mode, you'll need to land a hit first before you can execute a backstep. There are quite a few more moves you can do after performing a backstep, but I think they deserve a closer look. This leads us to the next tip. One of the more stylish follow-ups you can pull off after a backstep is the charge slash. It's a high commitment move, but if it lands, it opens the door to one of SNS's flashiest combos. To perform it, hold right click after a backstep. Your hunter will pause and begin charging, and once you release the button, they'll leap forward and perform a downward vertical slash. If that hit connects, it automatically transitions into scaling slash, launching you into the air. From there, you'll have access to the aerial follow-ups we covered back in tip 7, jumping slash, falling bash, or plunging thrust. Each one is good for a different situation, whether you're going for a mount, a KO, or a damage spike. You can also squeeze in a focus strike while airborne, which is super useful for hitting wounds that are usually out of reach, especially when you're up against big monsters. Another follow-up you can use after a backstep is the leaping slash. To perform it, press left click right after a backstep. The timing here is a little tight, and if you press it too late, you'll end up performing an advancing slash instead. But if your timing is right, you'll leap forward with an attack that leads straight into one of SNS's more timing-based combos, Perfect Rush. And once you land the leaping slash, it will start the Perfect Rush sequence. From there, you can keep pressing left click to continue the chain. But here's where timing really matters. If you hit each input just as your sword flashes bright red, you'll trigger a stronger version of the move. It's a bit like a rhythm game where if you hit the beat, you get clean, high damage strikes. If you miss it, the move still works, but it's noticeably weaker. There are 3 timing windows to hit, and if you land all of them, the final strike launches into a scaling slash, setting you up for the same aerial options from tip 7. Jumping slash, falling bash, or plunging thrust. While the damage is solid if you time everything perfectly, it's still a long animation. Compared to faster, safer combos, it might not always be worth the risk, but when it works, it definitely feels good to land. Getting knocked down is part of the game, but with SNS, you've got a unique way to get back in with the recovering slash move. While you're lying on the ground after a big hit, press left click or right click, and your hunter will perform a quick wake-up slash as they get back on their feet. It helps you recover just a little faster than the default animation, and lets you sneak in a quick hit while you're at it. From there, you can roll, block, or even dive right into a gap closer move like advancing slash, so you're never really out of the fight for long. But of course, prevention is better than cure, which leads us to the next tip. One of the biggest strengths of sword and shield is that you can move while attacking. By holding a directional key while pressing left click, your hunter will step and swing at the same time. It might not look like much, but it gives you a surprising amount of control during a combo. This kind of mobility lets you reposition while dealing damage, making it easy to adjust your angle or dodge out of the way, sometimes even before the monster starts its move. And instead of staying locked in place or relying too much on blocking, you can use that movement to stay aggressive and keep the pressure going. What's great is that attacking while moving doesn't reset your combo, so you can still integrate your finishers, like Spinning Reaper and Charge Chop, right into your attack string. Sword and Shield might be fast and mobile, but it also has solid defensive tools. And one of the most skill-based is the Perfect Block. To perform it, just hold R to guard and time it so the monster's attack lands right as your block comes up. If you get the timing just right, you'll trigger a Perfect Block, which cuts down knockback and chip damage significantly, and opens you up to some counterplay. After a Perfect Block, you can immediately follow up with different attacks depending on your input. If you follow up with left click, you'll perform a counter slash, a quick retaliatory strike that keeps the momentum going without overcommitting. It's often the safest choice because it's fast and easy to follow up with your next move. You can also press your left or right directional key before pressing left click to slightly reposition yourself before doing the counter slash. You can also tap left and right click to execute a round slash, or hold left and right click to perform a charge chop. It's the weaker version, but it's still a solid option when you've got a bit more room to breathe. You can also press forward plus right click to perform a shield attack, which you can then combo into more shield hits, just like we covered back in tip 4. And finally, pressing back plus right click sends you into a backstep, which can lead into advancing slash, charge slash, or leaping slash. This route is on the riskier side though, so make sure you've got a big enough opening before you commit. When you're not quite sure what the monster's going to throw at you, or just want to play it a bit safer, guard slash is a really solid option. Just hold your guard button, R, and press right click, and your hunter will slash forward and immediately raise their shield. It's a low commitment move that keeps you active while still protecting yourself. You can even spam the move, and if the monster attacks, it'll automatically block, triggering either a regular guard or a perfect block depending on the timing of the hit. It's not flashy, and it's not going to top your damage charts. But when you need to stay safe without backing off completely, this is one of the cleanest ways to do it. If you block a monster's attacks multiple times in a row, you'll trigger a power clash, locking you and the monster into a power struggle. When that happens, you'll need to rapidly press left click to overpower them and push them back. And from there, you'll get access to a variety of follow-up options. In most cases, your best play is to go straight into a Spinning Reaper by pressing left plus right click right after the clash. From there, you can continue with a charge chop by holding left plus right click again as your follow-up. It's a clean sequence that lets you turn defense into solid damage. But depending on how the clash plays out, the monster might stagger just far enough that your follow-up might miss. So while it's a strong option, it's not always the safest one. Alternatively, you can also choose to use charge chop by holding the left and right button of your mouse. Unlike Perfect Block, this one is the empowered version, making it a solid option even on its own. If you're aiming to build stun, you can also press forward plus right click to use a shield attack, which deals blunt damage. From there, you can continue into the full shield bash combo, which is especially effective if you haven't stunned the monster yet. If you're aiming for raw efficiency, Sword and Shield has a few loop combos that strike the balance between damage and safety. These combos flow naturally, keep your animations tight, and let you stay aggressive without overcommitting. The first loop is what I like to call the chop and slash loop. To do it, you press left click twice, then follow up with right click twice, and just repeat the sequence from there. What makes this loop so reliable is that every hit comes out quickly, and the shorter animations let you roll or guard at almost any point. It's a go-to move in speedruns because it keeps your damage flowing without forcing you into long commitments. And if you're playing reactively, it gives you the freedom to pull back at any time. Now, if you want to hit harder with each swing, you can go with the round slash loop. You start with 2 right clicks, and then reset the string using left and right click together to perform a round slash. It's not quite as safe as the previous combo due to the slightly longer windup on the reset. But if you've got a clear opening, this loop is a great way to squeeze more out of every window. And finally, if you're focused on stunning the monster, you've got the shield loop, which is all about building KO. While in focus mode, press the forward or side directional button plus right click to start a shield bash, then follow it with 2 more right clicks, and reset using guard slash by pressing R plus right click. It's a strong option when you want to interrupt or stagger the monster, and over time it creates valuable openings for you and your team. Each of these loops plays to a different strength, whether you're going for speed, power, or control. They're not as flashy as some of the other combos in your kit, but they're insanely efficient. When the monster starts running, Sword and Shield has a pretty fun trick you can pull off while riding your Secret. If you run parallel to the monster and hold left click, your hunter will hold their sword out sideways and drag it across the monster's body, dealing multiple hits as you ride through. It's a pretty satisfying way to keep pressure on a fleeing monster and squeeze out some extra damage before the next phase kicks in. Sword and Shield also has a unique dismount attack when you're riding your Secret. If you press left plus right click while mounted, your hunter will leap off and perform an aerial slash, and if you press left click again as it connects, it'll chain directly into a scaling slash. In other words, it gives you more than just a basic strike. It leads straight into a high damage aerial sequence. Hopefully these tips helped you get more out of Sword and Shield and gave you a few new tricks to try on your next hunt. As always, have a wonderful day and happy hunting.